You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 7th meeting for the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening and welcome to the Michigan City Common Council meeting. Today is April 7th, 2026. I would ask if you would all please silence all of your electronic devices and join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, on roll call, please.
Mr. Beatrice,
Present.
Mr. Coulter,
Present.
Mr. Dabney,
Present.
Dr. Cora, Ms. Lee, present, Ms. Moldenar,
Present.
Mr. Nelson, Mr. Preselinski,
Present.
and Ms. Tillman.
Present.
We have 7 present and 2 absent.
And Madam Clerk, I did receive notice and contact by Dr. Cora, and his absence is excused.
Thank you.
We have approval of minutes, our regular council hybrid and Zoom, March 17th, 2026. Did the council members had an opportunity to review, and if there were any corrections needing to be made? If not, may I entertain a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second the motion.
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Ms. Lee, Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and no one opposed.
And the minutes for March 17, 2026, regular council hybrid Zoom has been approved and passed. Reports of standing committees. Finance Committee meeting.
Yes, I have the Finance Committee report. And I will read now. The Finance Committee meeting was called to order by Chairman Bryant Dabney at 6:01 p.m. for the purpose of reviewing and approving claims since the previous meeting. Committee members, Councilman Beatrice and Councilman Dabney were there, as well as City Controller Marilyn Wall. Councilman Dr. Cora was absent. The committee reviewed claims totaling $8,340.18, consisting of $7,053.93 from the Riverboat Fund, $0 from Boyd Development Fund, and $1,286.25 from the Rainy Day Fund. Following review, Chairman Dabney moved to recommend approval of the claims docket. The motion was seconded by Councilman Beatrice and approved unanimously. There were no public comments at the meeting. And I will just review claims in detail before we move on. From the Riverboat Fund, we had claims from LaPorte Chrysler Inc. for monthly city vehicle leases. That was $7,053.93. The Boyd Development Fund, there were no claims submitted. From the Rainy Day Fund, Schneider Geomatics, that's engineering consultant services, and that is for work out there on the 212 annexation that's been going on with the city, for a total claims docket once again of $8,340.18. And now in review of our 2026 Riverboat and Rainy Day Fund statement of cash position. In the Riverboat Fund, we have $5,150,903.74. In the Rainy Day Fund, we have $1,321,810.42 for a total of $6,472,714.16. And after those were discussed, The meeting was adjourned at 6:07 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Dabney. May I entertain a motion? For the claims docket?
Motion to approve the claims.
Is there- Madam Clerk on the vote, please.
Ms. Chalmers,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Mullenhour
Aye.
and Mr. Preselinski.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you. The claims dockets for April 7, 2026 has been approved for $8,340.18. Next, we have reports from boards and commissions. We have Abigail Neary, President of Michigan City Sustainability Commission, presenting the annual report.
Madam President, I'd like to make just one announcement before that, as she's coming up here. Our Recycle Smart, Do Your Part workshop is happening on Wednesday, April 15th at 5:30 p.m. across the hall in the community room over there. Reminder, this is a hands-on workshop. We're inviting you to bring things that you don't know what to do with, recycle it or trash it, and we're trying to stump our expert. So let's bring in some challenging things for Sacha Guy Burns, who will be doing this workshop for us again. I have lots of flyers, so be sure to pick one up on your way out. Thank you. And I'd like to introduce Abigail Neary. She's the chair of the Michigan City Sustainability Commission. She's been with us for 2 years now, and I'm very delighted that she is going to be presenting this year's annual report. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everyone, for having us this evening. So if you would move the slide forward. The Michigan City Sustainability Commission was established in 2019 and with buy-in from the City Council and the Mayor. Within the last 7 years, we've accomplished quite a few things. One is completing a greenhouse gas inventory of the city's community energy usage, creating a sustainability action plan based on the highest emission areas. In fact, Michigan City has above normal landfill usage, which is one of the reasons we're focusing on things like recycling, energy inefficient housing. You'll hear more about our solar projects, polluting city vehicle fuel consumption. You'll hear more about that. We also have been working to support home and small businesses with solar installations and partnering with nonprofits to train individuals on installation of solar panels. We've obtained the SolSmart Silver designation, and we continue to promote sustainability engagement with the residents. So every project we engage on, which I'll give you a rundown of those shortly, is working to help promote sustainability within the community. Just a lovely picture of what we're saving. If you move on to the next one, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each of the projects on this page because we'll give you updates. But currently, right now, the Sustainability Commission is concurrently working on projects related to electric municipal vehicles, green burials and burial sections at Swan Lake, Recycle Smart, Do Your Part, as Nancy announced. We're working towards gold designation for SolSmart. We've been partnering with Carbon Neutral Indiana on education materials, not only in our local community, but statewide. I mentioned the solar panel installation. We also have some exciting news about the National Wildlife Federation and Michigan City being one of the first in the state and country to receive certain certifications. We work in conjunction with the NAACP on Soul Power, which is training community residents on how to install solar panels. We work with the Northwest Indiana Regional Planning Commission on the Regional Climate Action Plan. We've recently applied for the Indiana Clean Community Programs, and tonight we're also going to be talking about our Caught You Being Green Award and presenting that to a local business. So when we talk about what these projects have yielded over the last year, there's been, in our opinion, a tremendous amount of success for our community. So we are again holding the Earth Month Extravaganza. This is our 4th year. Last year, we reached over 400 participants. So we encourage you to join us at the Michigan City Senior Center on April 25th. There's lots of education. There's hands-on things for kids to do. There's a beach cleanup. There's a tree planting and electric vehicle viewing as well. The Caught You Being Green Business Award last year was the recipient to El Salon for installing rooftop solar on their businesses. We held the first green building workshop. So we had experts come in and speak with the community about how they could look at green building and different types of green building materials. We've begun a pilot at Swan Lake for green burials. They think that they might be able to offer this as a service, but we needed to do some testing of the water tables because it is a very wet area. We have been working with the Michigan City Police Department on grant funding for implementing electric vehicles for the administration. We think that we'll be able to get grant funding not just for the vehicles, but also funding for the charging stations. We are pursuing the Soul Smart Gold designation. We already have the silver designation, and this is in conjunction with the U.S. Department of Energy. And we also are preparing the Indiana Clean Communities designation. So this is a program that's free and voluntary. It's aimed at recognizing and rewarding Indiana communities for implementing proactive, positive approaches. The great news is that we're pretty positive we'll get adopted to this and also have a bronze level, which is the entry level, just for the work that we've already done over the past 12 months. If we move to the next slide. Great. So the Recycle Smart, do your part. So we did hold our first session in conjunction with the LaPorte County Solid Waste District. As Nancy mentioned, that's coming up on the 15th. For the next workshop, open to the public. You'll learn about all kinds of different recycling, how to recycle paint. What do you do with chemicals? What do you do with TVs, et cetera, not just what you think can go into the trash bin. And we are preparing a restaurant engagement campaign entitled Ask for a Straw and Cutlery. This is with funding from the Mayor Charitable Gala Community Activation Grant. This is to help reduce landfill of plastic cutlery and straws. So we'll be beginning that campaign here shortly. The National Wildlife Federation. So in 2023, we were awarded the Northwest Indiana Regional Certification, the first in our country. And so we have been working really hard to promote National Wildlife Federation habitat points. So it's a point system. It's about the number of community or households, parks, as well as schools, churches, places of worship, that get designated as wildlife habitat sanctuaries. So we have 53 habitats certified, which is well on our way to the 250 needed. We average about one or so a month, but if anyone wants to learn more about this, we're also holding a pollinator garden planting workshop on May 9th. And you can learn more, what are native plants, what are pollinator friendly, and how you can also receive the certification. Another exciting thing that's very unique to our community is our Soul Power project that I mentioned. So this is training and certification for solar panel installers in conjunction with the Sustainability Commission, IBEW 531, IB Tech Valpo, Work One, Just Transition Indiana, and most importantly, the NAACP. So we've had 31 solar panel assistants certified. And so this means that they can go through these various levels of professional designation, but they're job ready. So they can go out and immediately find jobs just through this certification program. So 41 certificates have been earned. 3 of the 4 students have completed the highest level and earned the National Electrical Code certification. I'd just like to say a thank you because this work couldn't be done without all of our partners, including the Michigan City Board of Works, the Cemetery Commission, Parks and Recreation, Development and Planning and Inspection, the Police District, Sanitary District, and Transit Departments. So we thank you all for the questions that we ask all the time and how we can help you guys with what you do every day. Soul Power, NAACP, Ivy Tech, International Brotherhood, IBEW. NERC, we work with Drive Clean Indiana to continue to expand the use of electric vehicles, Solar United Neighbors, Carbon Neutral Indiana, Indiana University Resilience Cohort, Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and the U.S. Department of Energy and National Renewable Energy Laboratory. So that's a summary of what we've accomplished over the past year. The last page is resources for anyone in the community who wants to understand how to get started with solar, looking at reading about our inventory, greenhouse gas inventory. So where are the most of our emissions coming from? You can follow us on Facebook and you can always watch our monthly meetings on YouTube, or you're welcome to join us. It's the second Thursday of every month right here at City Hall in the EOC room. Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council?
Councilman Beatrice.
I don't know how I missed this, but I hadn't heard anything about this job training program for solar panel assistants. That's fantastic. I mean, we're constantly looking for ways for training in the trade areas and in the professional areas, and this is a great job and great report too. I'm very proud of you. It's nice to see a former student shine.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions for Ms. Neary? Councilman.
Yeah, Madam President. Yeah, Abigail, thank you for the report. Very good. And I know that your commission does a lot of work. And I know I'm also working with your commission with the street department and central services, as far as taking inventory on all the vehicles that we have and what we can turn over into compressed natural gas. Yeah. So hopefully that'll be happening this year, and that'll also save on the vehicles that we can buy and have more environmentally friendly vehicles and
Yeah.
reduce emissions. So
We're excited
Yeah.
about that.
yeah, and so am I. I want to see that happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully save the city some money in doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Prisbalinski. If there are no further questions, thank you, Ms. Neary.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now we will present the award.
Thank you very much. As Abby mentioned, we're going to be presenting the Caught You Being Green Business Sustainability Award. So I just have a very brief statement about this and how we came about deciding who we chose for this award. Our Michigan City Sustainability Commission's Caught You Being Green Business Sustainability Award was the dream of our student commissioner, Tristan Bogart. Post-high school graduation, he serves as a regular commissioner. Unfortunately, now a college student, he has a class this evening and cannot be present. So basically, I'm standing in for him this evening. Hitachi Global Air Power, affectionately known as Hitachi Solaire locally, was selected to receive the Caught You Being Green Award due to its environmental vision to use innovation and digital capacity to advance sustainability, human well-being, and economic performance. Our Michigan City Sustainability Commission has chosen Hitachi Solaire to receive our award for these three commitments. Decarbonization. We first noticed Hitachi Global Air Power achieved carbon neutrality across global operations in fiscal year 2024. Native plant restoration. We then noticed at its Michigan City headquarters, Hitachi Global Air Power is converting nearly 7 acres of traditional turf grass into a native prairie ecosystem as part of a 5-year restoration effort. Woodland restoration at Friendship Botanic Gardens. We recently noticed Hitachi Global Air Power launched a 5-year effort to restore a critical woodland ecosystem at Friendship Botanic Gardens. Our Caught You
Being Green Business Sustainability Award acknowledges Hitachi Solar for all three of these accomplishments, hoping they will inspire other local businesses and corporations to engage in similar initiatives. At this time, I'd like to invite Jennifer Romero and Susan to come down. They graciously have agreed to be present this evening to receive their award. I'm probably going to stay over here.
Did you want to? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, please.
Wrap her up there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy and Abigail. Good evening, and thank you to the Michigan City Sustainability Commission for this recognition. My name is Jennifer Olinger, and I am the Senior Communications Manager at Hitachi Global Air Power. Hideki Fujimoto is our president and CEO, and he is traveling this evening. Otherwise, he would have been here. But in his place, and happy to accept this award, is Susan Poncher and Ramiro Aguilar from Hitachi Global Air Power. For our company, sustainability is a guiding principle. Our belief and strategy is that environmental responsibility and strong business performance go hand in hand. Achieving carbon neutrality in fiscal year 2024, investing in our community through the Friendship Botanic Garden Woodlands revitalization, and restoring our campus lawn to native plants and important milestones, but not the finish line for us. Our goal is to embed sustainability across our entire value chain, creating practical, measurable, and lasting progress that benefits both our company and society. We're proud to have been part of the Michigan City community for more than 60 years, and we're grateful for the partnerships that make this work possible. The LaPorte County Soil and Water Conservation District and the Clean Water Indiana Grant Program. From the entire team at Hitachi Global Air Power, thank you again for this incredible honor.
We're going to get an official photo. Yes, stay up here. I'll stay up here. Yeah. So, do you want to come?
Yeah.
You want to come over here?
Should I do the split?
Well, you could.
Right. I know.
Is that what you're asking?
I can sit over middle right here.
Yeah, we can do that.
You don't want to get my ugly face in the pit. That's all right. There we go. Could have just said that. Yeah.
And back to our agenda for reports from boards and commissions. We have Baker Tilly Advisory Group LP Redevelopment Commission's Gateway DLGF report.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
Andy Mauser with Baker Tilly. I will try to be brief here this evening, but certainly glad to
Thank you.
certainly glad to answer any questions. This is a report that we've done for a number of years for the Redevelopment Commission. There was a new requirement that started last year to also have this presented to the City Council once a year. So this is what's known as the TIF Management Report or the April 15th report. And this is a look back report at 2025 activity. So we will also assist the Redevelopment Commission and then the Controller's Office with getting this information uploaded into the DLGF's Gateway portal, but wanted to share it with you here this evening as well. First couple slides just give general information about Redevelopment Commission requirements and kind of TIF mechanics. On the second slide there, you will see a list of all the various reporting requirements throughout the year. Again, this is the April 15th TIF Management Report. And we do also assist with the pass-through notification, the assistance with the County Auditor's Office with the TIF neutralization and certification process in the summer. And then the adoption of the Redevelopment Commission's annual spending plan by December 1st. And then certainly encourage, I think one of the most beneficial reports we do put together is the annual presentation to the overlapping taxing units. That is really a more forward-looking report of where the TIF areas are, not only in the current year, but kind of throughout their lifespans over the next several decades. And that's something we typically do in the fall as well. Slide 3 just looks at mechanics of a TIF area. You have several TIF areas. The Tryon Meadow TIF area was created this past summer. The Station Block mixed-use transit TIF area that fall on the left side of this graphic on page 3, where the base assessed value has been established, and the areas are primed to start generating incremental assessed value, but are at the very beginning of their lifespan. But then also wanted to highlight you do have several areas in large portions of both your north side TIF area and your south side TIF area that will start to expire, which is represented by the right side of this graphic. And the goal of a TIF area is to capture TIF, reinvest in the community, and then get that assessed value back to the tax base. Your north side portion that will expire in 2029 represents about $85.6 million of assessed value. And then the same for the south side, which will expire in 2029, represents about $91.4 million. So well over $175 million of assessed value that will be returned to the tax base here within the next 2 to 3 year period. Page 4, the last slide was just kind of more general information, includes allowable uses of TIF. Traditionally, TIF can be used for incentives or infrastructure. Your Redevelopment Commission has, I think, done a great job in the past of investing primarily in public infrastructure improvements, things like road work, stormwater. And in recent years, there's been additional flexibility for quality of life type improvements, things like parks and trails. And then here in the most recent couple of years, we've seen additional flexibility for public safety costs. And then also for, in this past legislative session, there was the ability to start spending TIF dollars for childcare facilities. So outside of public safety and childcare facilities, TIF really does need to be used for capital projects rather than operating or maintenance type costs. But page 5 is the start of the actual data that gets uploaded into the report. Page 5, we do report on all active Redevelopment Commission members, so anyone that did serve at any time in 2025. And then also any employees that are paid from Redevelopment Commission dollars. I would note that while the Redevelopment Commission does have 3 employees paid out, those are all paid from the RDC's operating fund. So no payment of salaries or wages from actual TIF dollars. The next page, slide 6, looks at the various allocation areas, and we report all of these based on what's known as the 6-digit T code. So that's how the county and the state track your TIF areas. While the city does, maintain the north side, south side, northeast, and east side TIF areas, within each of those there are a number of different allocation areas that all have their own unique lifespans. So we do report on all the individual allocation areas, and then also include the most recent consolidated Tryon Meadow and Sola TIF areas that were created here in the past couple of years. And then I would just note on this slide, as far as expiration dates, your 1997 portions of the north side TIF, and then also the 1997 portion of the south side TIF will both expire, as I mentioned, in January of 2027. So they will last collect TIF as of tax year 2028, and then will be returned to the tax base in 2029. Page 7 looks at financial performance in 2025. We do report revenues and expenditures by TIF area. So you'll see amounts brought in and spent for the north side, south side, northeast, and east side TIF areas. I would just note on the community center number 1, the north side TIF, both on the revenue side and the expenditure side, that does include the draw and spend down of bond proceeds for a couple of different projects. The 2024 residential infrastructure fund bonds, and then also the 2023 mixed-use transit bonds for the Station Block project downtown. We also report on any grants or loans of TIF dollars. That includes both the facade grant and upper story grant programs. And then in 2025, there were no expenditures of TIF to other units. Although I know in the past, there have been dollars shared to the school corporation, and my understanding is that will return this year as well. Page 8, we do also report on expenditures by type. You'll see about 3.2 million was spent in 2025 on the repayment of debt principal, just under $1.5 million on repayment of interest associated with that same debt. And then the majority of the spend down, which you'll see listed there, is legal, engineering services, and other contractual services. Again, primarily is the spending on the station block, and then also the residential infrastructure fund bonds, and that was to provide sewer infrastructure on the north side of 12. Slide 9 takes a look at fund balances. I would note these are all December 31st balances. So those are typically a peak in the year. Redevelopment Commission collects TIF in December and then typically makes bond payments in January, February. So this includes amounts after TIF was brought in December, but prior to those bond payments being made. You'll see within the north side TIF ended the year with about 3.1 million. The south side TIF about 8.6, the northeast just under $1.6 million, and then the east side TIF just under $1 million, right around 961,000. Redevelopment Commission also maintains a couple other larger funds. That includes the project fund, so remaining dollars for the mixed use transit project as that finishes up construction. The Transportation Development District, so the TDD dollars that have begun to be collected in 2025, with a balance of about 242,000. And then on several of the larger bond issues, the 2015 Southside TIF refunding bonds, and then the 2018 Ohio Street bonds, there are debt service reserves that are maintained through the final maturity of those bonds. And then the last piece of information on slide 10 is any debt payments that were made in the prior year. So there are a number of different bond obligations outstanding. You'll see the total principal and interest outstanding on each of those bond issues, and then total amounts that were paid in 2025. And then I would note, as I mentioned earlier, several of your TIF areas will start to expire. Last collect in 2028, start to expire in 2029. You'll also note on the debt page, there are 4 bond obligations on that page that have final payments in February of 2028. So as your existing TIF areas start to scale back, your existing debt obligations will do the same. And so 4 of those bonds will be fully paid off here within the next 2 to 3 years. So with that, glad to answer any questions. Again, we will work with the Redevelopment Commission and Controller's Office to get this all uploaded into the DLGF's Gateway portal. But certainly glad to answer any questions tonight.
Are there any questions from the council?
Yeah, Madam President, I have one question.
Councilman Prisbalinski?
What is this for? Fund 3344. I'm under fund balances. And it's the Lafayette Barker refunding sinking. That's the top fund on that page. Do you know what that's for?
Those are the bond sinking funds. So typically the Redevelopment Commission will make a transfer out of the TIF allocation fund to the bond trustee, and then the bond trustee will use those funds to make the upcoming bond payments. So that's essentially just bond payments set aside before they're made.
Okay.
I think there's several sinking funds there. The Lafayette Barker, the Elston Grove, I think are the 2 main ones kind of towards the top of the page.
And the double track.
Correct, double track as well.
Are there any other comments or questions from the council? If there are none, thank you, Mr. Mauser, for your annual presentation.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate the
you.
time.
Have a good evening. Next on our agenda, do we have any reports of special or select committees?
Madam President?
Yes, Councilman Prisbalinski.
Yeah, being a liaison to the LaPorte County Solid Waste District, some of you may know it, but Clay Turner, the director, retired at the end of the month, last week, Thursday, I think. And so he's retired. Robin Havens, who was the office manager, has been appointed interim director. And there is a select committee that's been put together to go out and interview for a new directorship. So hopefully we'll have that done within the next month, month and a half. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other reports of special or select committees? Do we have any other reports of select or special committees? If there are none, moving on. Oh,
On the
yes.
boards and commissions, sorry. Michigan City Human Rights Commission met today, and the annual dinner will be May 7th at the FOP, $25 a ticket, a table for 300. You can contact me, 219-229-3017, or Vice Chair Mary Ellen Quinn, 219-873-6538. The winners this year for Humanitarian of the Year are Dr. Cora. He was named Humanitarian of the Year. Marty Corley got the Chairman Award, and Stephanie Olsen got the Unsung Hero Award. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other reports of special or select committees? If there are none, we'll move along to reports from mayor or other city officers and departments.
Good evening, Council. Mary Lou Mull, City Controller. In front of you, I've given a kind of a brief summary of our financial position as of March 31st, 2026. First thing we always like to look at is cash, because cash is king. So what I did is I took our cash balance across a lot of our major funds, and it totaled approximately $34 million as of March 2025. The same funds were analyzed for March 2026, and we increased approximately 8% to about $37 million as of March 31st. I think a lot of the contributing factors were we had an increase in permit fees at the end of the year in 2025, and our interest that we've accumulated with the banks also increased from the previous year. What I'll leave my glasses on, would help. And we also, I wanted to note too, that we are collected in 2026 wheel tax revenues. Those were not included nor budgeted in the 2026 budget, but as of right now, we've collected about $123,000 in wheel tax revenues. And estimating, as you know, estimating revenues is the first step in the budget process, because we need to have a balanced budget. And a balanced budget is when revenues exceed expenses. And as you've heard time and time again, that's what the mayor wanted to emphasize, a balanced budget for 2026. So we always have to review our revenues when we're reviewing how we are sitting financially. But since this is the first quarter, it's a little bit difficult because the city has not yet received our main source of revenue, which are property taxes. So kind of imagine trying to manage your personal budget if you only got paid twice a year. And that's what happens with the city. We get paid in June and December. So for this report, I mainly concentrated on some of our other major revenues in the general fund. And that's kind of described in the first kind of sheet that I ran off of our ledger. And it's a summary report of our general and riverboat revenues. So that's right behind my the notes I have. Boom, 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 boom. So one of our other major sources of revenues, once again, are licenses and permits. So if you look at licenses, which is at account 321, and once again, this is a summary report, we can run much more detail with the departments. We are over 42% of our estimated revenue. Now, these are licenses. So many of our contractors renew their licenses at the beginning of the year. So it's typical to receive almost half in the first quarter, but we will receive more throughout the year. Building and other permits, which is at 18% of our estimated revenues. The contracting season has just begun, so I feel very confident that we will exceed our budgeted amount. But as the year progresses, if revenues do not come in as expected, we may need to cut some expenses. We can control expenses. Revenues basically are what they are. When we looked at, I also looked at Riverboat. Riverboat wagering has decreased in the last couple years. We all know that, but I believe we are on target with our budgeted amount. If you look, the percentage may be a little bit less than 25%, but we get an admissions supplemental payment every August, and that's not in there. That's a substantial amount. So you kind of have to, you can't really expect everything to be right at 25%. And we also, which is not included in the budget, we should begin in August to receive our distributions from the Gary settlement. So that should be another $600,000 from August to the end of the year. And that was not included in the budget because until we see the money. And managing your financial position also includes expenses. What I did is I summarized all the general fund departments to report as the general fund as a whole. Because once again, like I mentioned before, the park operations have not begun yet. So it's not really fair to look at park revenues and or expenses yet. That'll happen in reports going on later on the season. I'm very confident Shannon does a great job. If her park revenues aren't coming in as projected, she will scale back on her expenses. And she had to do that last year because zoo expenses did not come, they weren't going to meet expectations. So if you look at the budget performance report where I've highlighted a lot of the, let's call it line items that we have to keep an eye on already. We know we had a snow event. So the snow event that impacted the 2026 budget already, like tonight and earlier budgets, we've had to do an additional appropriation for salt. The MVH overtime budget has also been depleted. I've already spoken to Sean about this, and I'm going to meet with the street department to discuss what he feels like his future needs are going to be for 2026. He's going to need some more overtime. Whether or not we can transfer money within his budget, or we may have to do an additional appropriation from the MVH. It will come from the MVH fund. It's something we just couldn't control. We needed to manage the snow events. We also know, unfortunately, our electric utilities and gas and diesel across all departments will need to be monitored. We must pay our utilities, and the costs are kind of basically out of our control. Those are also highlighted. So we are going to have to look at NIPSCO across the board in all departments. Once again, this report is just summarized, so we can have a detail to see what City Hall's NIPSCO is, what Central Maintenance's NIPSCO is. And we'll have to work with all the department heads to see if we can transfer money within departments, or we may need additional appropriations later on this year to cover our NIPSCO and possibly our gas. Because as you know also, the mayor keeps a very tight budget. So we knew that we may need to ask for additional money if costs come in kind of out of our control. City Hall repairs. If anybody was coming in on the north side entrance, we had restrooms down for a long period of time. We had a lot of work being done. We're still accumulating all the bills for that. We will be requesting an additional appropriation to cover those repairs because we basically wiped out all the City Hall repair money. And we need to make sure we have a balance in case our City Hall needs more repair. But we'll get you that information later on. Earlier this year, Central Maintenance needed a new lift. In order to expedite the process, we did a transfer resolution to move some money into his capital line item. Now we need to meet to discuss to make sure that the Central Maintenance Department may need some money to put back into the repair and maintenance. Basically the account that we took the money out of to put in capital. Not sure about that yet, but just kind of giving you a heads up. Once again, that lift was kind of unexpected. And he needed that was an essential piece of equipment that Daryl needed for his department. As the year goes on, the department heads will be, and my office will be monitoring the detailed budget performance report to take a look at, whether or not we need to make adjustments to the budget. And the June report then will have the property tax distributions. And we'll have a much better picture on whether property tax distributions came in as expected. Is there any questions?
Are there any questions from the council? Councilman Presebalinski?
No questions, but thank you very much for the report.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So will you, every quarter, every 3 months, we'll be getting this report?
Yeah, after every quarter, we plan on doing that. Yep, like I said, and after June, then we'll have our property tax distribution. So that'll be a lot. We'll have a lot more information to provide. And the parks will start ramping up then too.
All right. Thanks, Mary Lynn.
You're welcome.
Councilman Dabney?
Yes, a quick question. These numbers, once again, everything is up in the air as things moving along, the unexpected rises in utilities and so forth. And this all plays into next year's budget in terms of us making the budget for next year. And why we can't jump out there like in March, April.
Absolutely.
And create a budget for next year. We have to wait till our real numbers get in so we can see what we have and what we don't have. And I'm glad you did this report to show us exactly where we are. And you and I discussed, some of the things like utilities and salt and that kind of stuff earlier. So thank you for that. But this all works together. A lot of moving parts come into creating that budget. So they're doing the best they can with moving targets. And so, thank you guys for the work. I pop in and see you guys pretty frequently to ask questions about what's going on. So thank you for this and continue for what you're doing up there, because like I said, it's just, moving parts. A lot of fixed costs are not quite fixed, as we think utilities and that would be a fixed cost, but it's very variable because of the super increases and things like that. So
Correct.
thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot going on that wasn't anticipated. And like as Councilman Dabney was alluded to, that this, after our June distributions and we actually balance out all of our funds, that's the gateway for the next year's budget. So that's why we have to wait until June, and then we have to balance out everything. And then, you're frankly, you're getting into the end of July. So then we're right into budget season then.
Yep.
All right.
Are there any other comments or questions? Councilman Beatrice?
I'd just like to thank you also. I should have said something at our finance committee meeting about this. But I was going to wait until council comments at the end, but now's a good time. I remember when we asked you to do this, and it's better than I could have anticipated it would be. This is very easy to understand, and I know it's a complicated issue. I appreciate the fact that we've got revenue that's coming that we haven't realized yet. And that's a good thing, because we recently found out we're going to have some expenses coming that we didn't anticipate and that were in the budget as well. But something like this is a good tool for us to use to try to plan for how we're going to take care of those expenses when they arrive.
Yes, as I mentioned to Councilman, that this actually is a good exercise, because then instead of us coming for an additional appropriation on something you hear nothing about, it really kind of honestly forced me to I got to run this budget. Oh my gosh, look at this. And then we can kind of highlight it and say, hey, we've got to monitor this. We're giving you a heads up that we know about it. We're not over budget yet, but we're going to go over budget on some of these gas and utilities. And so it gives everybody a heads up on it.
Good job.
Thank you.
And one last comment. I'm surprised that Mary Lynn didn't correct me when I was speaking. I actually called fixed costs variable costs.
Okay.
They've always been variable costs. They're just more of a variance to these costs. So I'm surprised you didn't smack me with the ruler on that when I said that. But thank you for the report.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Lynn. Are there any, that's all on that part? Yes.
Good evening, Council. Assistant Chief Kyle Shaparsky, Michigan City Police Department, standing in for Chief Forker tonight. To give you guys the rundown for Michigan City's Police Department's activity and statistics here for the month of March. In March, we had a total of 174 arrests. That is up 38 or 28% from February. Our traffic stops are up to 646 That's an increase of 55% from last month, or from February, excuse me. Citations issued, 476. That's up 96% from February. Total firearms seized, 18. We had total calls for service at 3,761. That's 30% increase from February. Total reports taken, 394. 80 disturbances. Total shots fired call is 21, down 9%. And then flock used in 9 investigations. Generally speaking, these numbers kind of highlight the proactive enforcement activity that is increasing as we start to get into some of the through the winter, if you will. And again, we're seeing some strong officer engagement as a result. Flock continues to support more focused and intelligence-driven policing, so much so that the value of the system is directly tied just to how often it's used by our officers. I know you guys have heard a lot about it, Flock, in the past, and have been supporters up through this, but I just wanted to highlight to you guys that the outcomes that we are seeing from this technology and other technologies, quite frankly, that we've adopted are generating very meaningful outcomes for the community, whether it's in large investigations, whether it's street level investigations. But these stats that you hear from us each month would go, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that Flock is actually a huge part of that. With that said, also, our increased calls for service are partially driven by last March being a longer calendar month. And I think that we see things warm up. We're going to see just a general increase of those disturbance type calls or just calls for service and reports. And then again, as we look at some of these shots fired incidents that we have, we're continuing to follow up and work to get some additional outcomes for that. And I have to apologize. I missed Chief Forker not giving me the memo to mail you guys these stats, so I will be sure to do that first thing in the morning.
Are there any comments or questions from the council? I just have one, if there's none. When you mentioned the traffic stops have increased, is that also due to the hands-free with the cell phones, driving with the cell phone in your hand?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say that we see less increase based on some minor factors like that. And I mean, for example, we were doing some annual training through March, essentially beginning of March. And so that took some officers off the street during our mandatory state mandated trainings. And so I think what you saw is as March progressed, we had more officers on the street because we were completing that training. And I think that ultimately, the officers got out of training and kind of went and got after it. So.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that report. This is last call from reports from mayor or other city officers and departments. Madam Clerk, do we have any petitions this evening?
There are no petitions.
Madam Clerk, on the communications, please.
Correspondence was received on March 16th from Daryl Grabachik, Superintendent of Central Services, regarding the city's 2026 fleet equipment inventory. Correspondence was received on March 17th from Ashley Williams, Just Transition, Northwest Indiana, regarding the Project Maze Data Center. Correspondence was received on March 19th from Amy Lisineski, Dominic Yankee, to the Board and Zoning Appeal members. Correspondence was also received from Shelley Yankee on March 23rd regarding an incident that took place at 402 Royal Road. Correspondence was received from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management on March 24th on file 091-495-6100-195 OAQ permit. Correspondence was also received on March 25th from CJ Alexander requesting his document be sent to the council members. Correspondence was also received on March 31st from President Tillman to Ashley Williams regarding Miss Williams' correspondence the clerk's office received on March 17th. And that's it.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, our first resolution this evening by title only, please.
A resolution by title only, approved request to connect the Michigan City Sewer Utilities by Yellow Bear Farms LLC of 2522 Shorewood Drive, Long Beach, Indiana. And this is introduced by Mr. Prespolinski.
And would the sponsor like to make any comments?
Yes, Madam President. A few items. Number one, why I'm sponsoring this resolution is because I'm the liaison to the sanitary district, and this falls right in line with sewers and sewer hookups. And number one, and I'm going to basically just be touching on the resolution. Number one is the location of this piece of property. If you're not familiar, you go over Highway 12 and Carwick Road and you head north about 3/4 of a mile. You turn to the right and that's Shorewood Drive. Say you go down about 3/4 of a mile and everything, the way I understand everything on the north side of Shorewood Drive is Long Beach. So this piece of property, and there was another piece of property there at 2520 Shorewood Drive that this council had approved a sewer hookup, I don't know, approximately a year and a half ago, to the same owner. So where this piece of property is, it's just a half a block down from where the original house is being built. What the owner wants to do is hook up to the city sanitary district. And in order to do that, there's a few things that the property owner has to do. And that's why I'm going to touch on the items in the resolution, because he has done everything that he's been required to do. The last thing he needs to do is have approval from the city council to go ahead and do this. So the number one thing is the owner of any real property located outside of the corporate limits of the city who wish to connect to the public sanitation system of the city for new or expanded service shall execute a waiver of the right to demonstrate or remonstrate against any annexation by the city as a condition of connecting to the public sanitation system of the city. Now, this waiver of the right to demonstrate or remonstrate against annexation shall be valid for a period of 15 years from the date of the waiver is executed. This waiver shall run with the land and shall be recorded in the office of the LaPorte County Recorder not later than 30 business days from the date the waiver is executed. And the waiver shall also be filed with the office of the city clerk of Michigan City not 30 days also from the date the waiver is executed. So that explains why the waiver has to come in play. Number two, the property owner, like I said, has executed any and all waivers necessary for the compliance with section 9886, which I just read, okay, and of the Municipal Code of Michigan City, which said waiver is attached to, and it's a piece of the exhibit here. It's Exhibit A. And number three, the property owner has executed any and all waivers necessary for the compliance with section 9886. And whereas the property owner has already sought and obtained the necessary approval of the Michigan City Sanitary District in order to permit the establishment or reestablishment of their sewer connection. Specifically, the district has issued a lateral permit number 26-04-L and has provided a capacity certification confirming there is sufficient capacity in the district's sewer system to receive and transport the discharge from the proposed connection by the property owner, and that the connection has been approved. And there's also Exhibit B is a part of this documentation if you wish to read that. So the applicant has already obtained all permits, all permission he needs, And the sanitary district has also agreed that they can use the additional funds for the hookup and the sanitary waste coming to the district. And that is the gist of what the resolution is for.
Thank you, Councilman Prince-Belinsky. I'd like to open this resolution up for public comments at this time. Are there any public comments on this resolution? Any public comments on this resolution? Any public comments on this resolution? If there are none, public comments is now closed. Comments from the council. I would like to make one before anyone makes a motion. And that is, I have a question for Attorney Harris. In the whereas, paragraph 3, it says 98-87. Should that be 98-86 as well? Just a clerical, is that a clerical typo?
We should double check that.
You're done it for me. Sorry about that. It appears as though that is a typo, that it should be consistent with either 9887 or 9886. And without having it in front of me, I'm not sure which one it is, but we can double check that to make sure it's consistent. That will be just a typographical error, so you won't need further approval, but
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, Attorney Harris. I will now open for additional comments from the council. Councilman Beatrice.
I'm in favor, let me say I'm in favor of this, but, and I know he has waived any ability to remonstrate against, annexation for 15 years. When are we going to annex this? I'm against giving anything from the city to anyone unless they agree to be a part of the city. So I don't know who was in charge of that. It's probably planning department, but, I think we should annex. And when we annex, it's not just the water and the sewer, it's fire and police and every other service that people pay taxes on. So I hope that we're going to, I don't know, this is not a question for you,
Right,
Don,
I know.
but whoever's in charge of these issues, I think needs to resolve that, because I think we're probably going to get more requests of this type in that same area now that we've had one, because anyone who lives in Long Beach doesn't have a solution to the problem of dry wells. They're going to have water, sewer and water. So whoever's in charge, I hope that you deal with that and deal with it quickly.
Madam President?
Yes, Attorney Harris.
Real briefly, two things. One, I double checked each section of the code. They're both correct. One deals with the connection, the other one deals with the annexation waiver.
Okay.
So the references there are okay. And on the issue that Councilman Beatrice brought up regarding this could be an ongoing issue regarding annexation and what will we do. So the service area for the sanitary district is defined by ordinance. And right now, the reason we have to go through all this is because we're dealing with properties outside of the municipal boundary. So there has been discussions at the sanitary district regarding studying what the long-term solution to that is, as opposed to kind of the piecemeal process that we're doing now. There being some recommendation based upon the plant's capacity that the council consider some amendment to the service area so that you can deal with it with a broader stroke as opposed to one request at a time. So just so you know, Councilman Beatrice, there are some conversations going on now so that there's a proposal that could get to the council overall. Maybe this results in contracts with communities with certain conditions for people to connect, but we're actively discussing that though. Yeah.
Thank you, Attorney Harris. Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Thank you, Madam President. I know I said this the last time that we provided service to this particular area, but I'm going to emphasize on what Councilman Beatrice said, is that overall, our city is not benefiting really financially from these sewer extensions, except for the monthly service charges that are going to the sanitary district. And I truly recommend that these properties that are so close to Michigan City be annexed into the city. And that way we're going to be the ones that are collecting the property taxes on those homes. And then it becomes a financial benefit to Michigan City. I voted against this the last time, And I'll be voting against this again because in principle, I don't think this is the way that we're looking for the financial security and the well-being of our residents and everything else, because we could be getting the tax money in property taxes from these homes. Thank you.
Councilman Dabney?
Councilwoman Moldenauer, that is music to my ears. I have been talking about this. Wow, I'm in my third term, and I've been talking about this at the end of my first term, that we needed to annex into the city so we can get the property taxes in Michigan City. There are properties, and I always use the example of 400 Kiefer Road out there next to Walmart. So all the companies and that on the other side of the road, that's considered county. But we run sewer and water out there, even under 94 out to the truck stop that's out there. But they're not annexed into Michigan City, so the property taxes goes to the county. And I've been screaming and hollering about this for a long time, and I hope we can start to do something about that, because if something happens at one of those businesses, gunshots go off or something happens, they're going to call our police department. Our police department is going to run out there and service what's happening. I'm sure if one of them goes up in flames, it'll be our fire department that would be there. So I've always been in favor of these companies or these businesses or whatever it may be that are right outside of the city. So it's almost an incentive to build right outside the limits of Michigan City, because you can connect with the water and sewer. So this is near and dear to me, and I've been talking about this for a long time. And hopefully, we can get some momentum and move forward in terms of doing this, because as you all know, and you've heard a million times, all the cities and the municipalities are struggling for dollars. And like Councilwoman Moldenauer said, it's almost like we're giving our services away, which is just a simple property tax issue. We can, annex these places into Michigan City so we can collect the property taxes. I just see it as fair, not like we're going after the county or anything like that. It's just a fair deal. You come into Michigan City, not all the way, but halfway, and you get to hook up to our services. So I understand, and you had me smiling when you guys were talking about that. So thank you for realizing this. Like I said, this is something I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lee?
Thank you, Madam President. I have a question and then a comment. I see here that there's a $500 fee associated with this. Are they also paying for the equipment and the labor for this hookup? The owner? Yes.
Yes, all the expenses are borne by the property owner themselves. The only thing that this resolution does is grant them permission, but all the fees have to be paid by the property owner.
Okay, thank you. And then my comment, I agree with everything Councilwoman Moldenauer said. However, I know there has been issues in this area with septic tank leaks, and being so close to Lake Michigan, having those septic tanks leak into our drinking water and our recreation water is an issue for me. So I don't know about this particular residence. However, I would like to go ahead with this and approve this, and then we do have 15 years to annex it. So we do have time after today to go ahead with any annex operations that we need to do in the future. But the septic tank, is that him on Zoom for this? The architect, would he be able to answer the septic tank issues?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have.
I'm sorry, before you answer, could you please state your name so that the public would know who we're listening to?
Oh, sure. Peter Zwarski with Benchmark Design Studio, the architect for the project. It is on Lake Claire, which isn't, I guess it eventually connects to Lake Michigan. It's part of the watershed. But we do not anticipate having a option for a septic system on this because of the water level of Lake Claire and the groundwater issues. So it's hooking up to the existing sewer that is there is really our only option, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other comments from the council? Councilman Beardry.
I'm sorry, I would have mentioned this earlier, but I forgot that our attorney is also an attorney for the sanitary district. So I hope we're not waiting 15 years before we look at annexation here. I mean, the sanitary district is a sibling. They're members of the family. But I think this thing needs to be resolved in a year max.
Well, that decision, it really isn't on the sanitary district side. That's on the city side. So if what this does is make it easier for you to annex the property, but that decision has to be made on the city side, not the sanitary side.
Well, I think we need a conversation with them to decide what we're going to do with all the other families who live next door to this property and do have dry wells.
I agree.
I agree with you. Use is going into Lake Claire, which does link to the Trail Creek and Lake Michigan. So this is a big issue.
I agree
for all of us, and maybe you can convey that message to them. I'd be glad to sponsor an ordinance to change the zones, but I think we need their input on how do they plan on doing this. To me, they shouldn't be hooking anything up until the annexation has even occurred. I think they got the cart before the horse here.
Understood. Those are exact conversations that are going on, and I think the plan is to develop some recommendations for the council that include annexation timing for it. We're working with Wendy Vacher also on this in order to get something before you so we can have a workshop and just talk through all those issues. But you're right, it is a much broader issue.
Okay, good. Thanks.
I have one more thing, Madam President.
Councilwoman Moldenauer.
I feel that I think that 15 years down the road is kicking the can too far down the alley, and we need to really shorten that period of time.
And on this resolution, may I entertain a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Miss Lee,
Aye.
Miss Moldenauer,
Nay.
Mr. Preselinski,
Aye.
and Miss Tillman.
Aye.
We have 6 in favor and 1 opposed.
And the resolution approving request to connect to the Michigan City Sewer Utilities by Yellow Bear Farms LLC of 2522 Sherwood Drive, Long Beach, Indiana, has passed. Madam Clerk, our first ordinance on first reading by title only, please.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, amending section 22-83 in the Michigan City Municipal Code, commonly known as the Building and Inspection Fee Waiver. And this is introduced by Mr. Beatrice and Mr. Dabney.
And would the sponsors like to make any comments on this ordinance?
This ordinance is needed, I think, because I sat out the 4 years prior to this current term from city council. I was in the 8 years prior to that. And then at that point, we were waiving fees for the school corporation, building fees, building permit fees. This ordinance apparently was put in the 4 years that I wasn't on council. I wasn't aware that we weren't still waiving those fees. I think we should waive fees for the school system and for the library because they're family also. And our kids go to these areas and we go to these areas. And to me, it's like taxing yourself again when we ask them to pay building fees. However, I'm aware of the situation we're in. The comptroller shared with us that our revenues aren't where we would like to have them be, and our expenses are where we don't want them to be, and they're not going to go down. In fact, information that we've recently been aware of tells us they're going to go up significantly. So to waive all fees may be a bigger ask than we can afford. This ordinance would waive 50% of the fees for the school corporation, the building permit fees for school corporation and for the library. And I think that's reasonable.
Councilman Dabney.
Yes, and I concur with what Mr. Beatrice said there. And looking at the final whereas, it talks about, and I'll just read it, the city reasonably believes that it is in the best interest of the city and residents herein to amend section 22-83 of the Michigan City Municipal Code to provide the Common Council with the ability to waive up to 50% of the building permit fees and inspection fees for the following. A, 501c3 nonprofit corporations engaged in the acquisition, creation, and construction / improvements of affordable housing, and B, Michigan City area schools, and C, Michigan City Public Library. And when I was approached to sponsor this, when I heard Michigan City area schools and that, I know we have a reciprocal relationship with them, with our park department especially, would use their facilities at no cost. And so, things went back and forth. Like I said, it was a reciprocal relationship that we had with these. And, we started to receive a bunch of waiver requests. Cost was starting to get up there. And I think we needed to put some kind of control on it. And it really was putting a lot of, I shouldn't say pressure, but a lot of ideas with different organizations asking for waivers. So now we were sitting here and you're having to be yes, no to certain ones and different ones. And it made it a little bit difficult. So I'm glad we put some parameters on this ordinance here to talk about that under that whereas. So it makes it clearer as to what we can and cannot do. So I appreciated them coming to me and asking me to sponsor this along with Councilman Beatrice.
Thank you. I would like to open this up now for public comments. If you'll please state your name and your address.
Yes, this is Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. But I was going to speak this on general public comment, but now this ordinance came up. I'm going to speak on it now. And I see the Toms here. We just heard from the LaPorte County Council meeting that Judge Greta Friedman and John Gilmore from Ton and Blank come up. They're going to remove the location for the men's rehab house at Woodland Cool Spring. They're going to come back here and they're going to ask for tens of thousands of dollars in permit fee waivers. They're a nonprofit, so I don't think we should give them any more to give them. They're already receiving $1.5 million in funding. They're getting $750 from the county. I think it's from their opioid and their seeded funds. They haven't mentioned other organizations. They're getting another $750,000 from. So no permit fee waivers for the men's rehab house for the Drug Free Partnership of LaPorte County. Thank you.
Oh, Chris Belinsky, 1716 Washington Street. I think that my fellow resident of the Second Ward made a good point that I think that you should be subject to 503Cs. And I also agree that the rehab house is getting enough of our tax money that I think you should still go over. I don't have a problem with the library. I don't have a problem with the school system, and I don't have a problem with county buildings. That is, we're just getting funds out of the tax base. But when it comes to 503Cs, I think you have to judge them in what they're doing. And I don't think that that rehab, especially, I don't think that rehab house, with all the funding they're getting, you should wait. You should leave that language. You should take that language out of the ordinance and only have in there for the school system, the library and the county buildings. I think what you should judge every 503 that comes up here, because there's a lot of 503Cs. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
Ernie Hallahan, 302 Gladys Street. As far as the waiver for the school system, I totally agree with that because you guys got dinged by downstate legislatures and the school did too. They've taken a lot of money from the school. Michigan City's population is decreasing because of no industry here. And enrollment's going to be declining. So the school's going to be losing more money when the enrollment declines. So I think that they definitely deserve to have this. Thank you.
Good evening, Sal Dunlap, 729 East Michigan Boulevard. If you're talking about being subjective in selecting which 501c3 is going to get your favor, you're setting yourself up to get knocked out.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time? This will be my last call for public comment. No, I see him.
I'm David Williamson. I live at 605 White Oak Drive in Michigan City, but I'm also the Director of Facilities for Michigan City Schools. I've worked there for 41 years. Our schools have not had a major renovation to them since, well, the last one was 2002. They need work inside of them. The mechanical systems are failing, and that's what we're looking to do right now. We're looking to renovate our schools and bring them up to 21st century. So that's why we're asking for the fee waiver. Thank you.
This is last call for public comment. Do we have anyone online? We do not. Public comments are now closed. Any comments from the council?
Yeah, Madam President, I do have a question. I know that one of the projects that's coming up, and I asked the city, Sue Downs, city building inspector, of how much money that the permit fee was going to be. And she had told me that the permit fee was going to be $131,000 on whatever project. Is that the project we discussed Dave? Okay. And I don't know, would you want to come up and just discuss that real quick? So we know exactly what we're talking about here right out of the box and how much money we're talking?
So the project, it's in progress right now.
Yeah.
It's out at the Michigan City High School. It's a community event center. It will be the Barbara Jones Event Center. It's going to be the name of it. It's new soccer field, multi-purpose field. So everybody can use it. The total amount, and we're going to pay for this with bonds. So the total amount that we're looking at doing right now is $185 million.
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
If there's no other comments from the council.
No, Madam President, I wasn't done yet. Yeah.
Okay.
So, no, well, I had one more comment to make. So what we're talking about here, if this passes, and I know it's being done for the sake of getting this project going. So according to my math and Sue Downs, so we're looking at $130,000 for the building permit. So the city, even at 50%, we'll be taking in $65,000 on the building permit, and then a couple thousand on the mechanical inspections, I think is what they got to do. Yeah, so we're looking at approximately, like I said, $60-some thousand that the city will be taking in. So, yeah, I mean, we're gonna get, like Councilman Beatrice said, and that's why he's sponsoring it, because the city needs the funding. You know, we need things that we have to get done. You know, we We have trucks we have to buy. We have fire trucks we have to buy. We have contracts we have to settle. We have a whole list of things that we got to do. We have parks that we got to have to update. So we also need the funding too. And I know the state did, in my estimation, everybody wrong with their new taxation billing. So I think if we split it down the middle, we'll be fair. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilman Coulter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really want to thank Councilman Beatry and Councilman Dabney for putting this together and for being proactive and including the library in that. I know that we talk a lot about Senate Bill 1, but libraries are one of the units of government that don't really have the best ability to increase their own tax base. So it's exciting that we are able to help them in some small way. Thank you.
Councilwoman Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. I think there's a little confusion about where the nonprofits, the 501c3s come in. So in here, it says the council has the ability to waive up to 50%. So that doesn't guarantee that every single 501c3 that is getting a permit will get half of those fees waived, correct? So they still have to do their due diligence and come and apply and come to us with an ordinance, and then we have to pass that for each individual 501c3. So it's not guaranteed for everybody automatically. Correct? Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Dabney.
And I just wanted to address, because I know Mr. Dunlap came to the microphone and he made the comment, you have to be careful with who you select to waive fees for, because he's saying you can run into certain issues, funding some, not funding others. But it was tried to be laid out, and Councilwoman Lee down there did a very good job explaining it. And I was going to read this last section of this ordinance kind of word for word. She did a very good job of doing it. Not all are, it says you have to waive. It says the city council may waive up to 50% by resolution of the city common council of any and all building permit fees and inspection fees charged by the planning and inspection department for the following. Number one, nonprofit 501c3 corporations that are engaged in the acquisition, creation, and construction / improvement of decent and adequate housing for those who would not otherwise qualify under normal means. Then number two, the Michigan City Area Schools, and number three, Michigan City Public Library. And this was a point that I had asked to be looked over thoroughly when I was talking to the attorneys that were writing this, because I was getting into that same thing. You don't want to be discriminatory in anything that you do. So I think they did a pretty good job, or a really good job, in terms of laying that out, who could qualify for the the fee waiver there.
Okay. Are there any other comments from the council? If there are none, this will be held over till second reading. Madam Clerk, if you would, before we do the readings of these next ordinances, I would like to ask Councilman Coulter to elaborate in regards to how we will be moving forward on these next 4 ordinances. And we also have the controller available as well to elaborate.
Madam President, if I could speak to this real quickly.
Yes, Attorney Harris.
And if the controller could come down just while I'm making this comment, because I think she'll be next. But there are 4 ordinances that are coming up next. And these are all ordinances that should look familiar to you because they were before you for approval. There is, however, for each of these additional appropriation ordinances, a new requirement that they be published in Gateway and a public hearing be held. So in order to comply with that new requirement, you see them before you again, and you have the ability to approve all 4 of these on all 3 readings for efficiency, because again, this isn't something new or something different. You've already done this. We're just doing some housekeeping to comply with the new requirements of having this in Gateway, which it is there and it's published that today will be the formal public hearing for it. So in order to accomplish this, if you all want to do it efficiently, it will require a unanimous vote, but you can suspend the rules, hear all four of these on all three readings, and approve all four of them in one motion. But I would ask the controller if she can give also her overview of what this requirement is about, and then I can answer any questions anyone may have.
Thank you, Attorney Harris.
Hello, once again, Marilyn Wall, City Controller. So I am reading directly from the directive from the DLGF, which quite honestly, we advertised and we did everything kind of the way we've always done additional appropriations. But starting in, we have pursuant to we need to upload a notice of additional appropriation advertisement pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-18-5 that effective January 1, 2026, all additional appropriations must be uploaded in the section in Gateway at least 14 days prior to the public hearing. The department, meaning the DLGF, then shall make the information available to taxpayers on budgetnotices.in.gov at least 10 days prior to the public hearing. So basically, we just did it the way we've always done it in the past. I went out to kind of submit it to the DLGF and, now we can advertise in Gateway, which is actually going to save the city money. We do not have to advertise in the paper anymore, which costs us money. So I did upload on March 20th, 2026, that the public hearing date is today, April 7th, 2026, for all four of these additional appropriations. And this was uploaded to Gateway in the appropriate manner. Any other questions? But it was just an oversight on my office. And honestly, when I went to the DLGF, there wasn't any guidance on the DLGF website at the time. And I had to reach out to the DLGF and exactly how to do this also. So now they came out with a notice like the next day.
Councilwoman Moldenauer?
Yeah, I do have a question. For the members of the public that are here, perhaps you could elaborate on what Gateway is. And also, I do want to make a comment. I hope we don't stop publishing things in the newspaper because everybody does not have access.
That's true.
To the computer. And also,
we don't have.
It's a way of us supporting the newspaper.
Oh, absolutely. I understand that. Yes, you're right. You're right. I believe that this suffices for the advertisement, but it doesn't limit us. And you are correct with that. Gateway is a transparency portal. So anyone can go out to Gateway. It's just gatewayindiana.gov. I think if you just Google on Gateway, he'll hit it. You can run reports. This is where you can look at the budgets. The budgets are advertised out there. It's really called the Indiana Transparency Portal. You can pull up and see, and do reports on everybody's salaries for last year. And there's a lot of actually good information, but it's really considered the Indiana Transparency Portal that's out there. And that's why we advertise now on Gateway. And we've done our budgets out there for the last couple of years. But now, like the annual report will be out there and all the information from the cities. And now the additional appropriations will be out there also.
Thank you. I'm getting ready to ask a question. For Attorney Harris. When we're getting ready to process this, can I request for the controller to just read all by title only, and then I can do the advertise?
You mean the clerk?
The clerk, yeah. Is that
Yes.
sufficient? Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you should read them and then open it up for public hearing.
Then I'll open it.
And then you can have a motion. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Madam Clerk, if you would please read all four ordinances by title only.
Approving additional appropriation in the budget of the general fund of the purchase of road salt for the street department. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney, Dr. Cora, and Mr. Preselinski. The next one is approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Riverboat Fund for the construction of Destination Playground in Fetters Alley. And this is introduced by Mr. Preselinski, Ms. Moldenauer, and Mr. Beatrice. The next one is an ordinance on first reading by No, we're not doing that. I'm reading the next one. Approving additional appropriation of the budget of the Riverboat Fund for purchase of radios for the police department and fire department. And this is introduced by Ms. Lee and Dr. Cora. And the last one is approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Riverboat Fund for the purchase of vehicles, including buyout of leased vehicles for the Michigan City Police Department. And this is also introduced by Ms. Lee and Dr. Cora.
Thank you. And all four of these ordinances has been advertised in the Herald Dispatch, March 25th, 2026. Formal public hearing will be held April 7th, 2026, and has been posted on Gateway. Public hearing is now opened. I am open this up for any public comments on any of these four ordinances that is before us.
Can I say? I don't know if I'm
Yes.
public or who I am.
One moment, one moment, Mr.
All I can
Mr.
say,
Prisbalinski, if you could, one moment, Madam Clerk,
Okay.
she was getting ready to
I
speak.
guess this is under oral public. I've never spoken at one of these. I just want for the record to say that I am going to continue putting these ads in the paper. It isn't that expensive. And I believe that the public needs that transparency, knowing how and what's going on in our city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
this, thank you.
If you'll please state your name and address, sir.
Paul Prisbalinski, 1716 Washington Street. I want to say this, that this is a hell of an oversight, okay? When it comes to budgeting money. And I think that these should all be read and voted on separately, even though to make it lightly that it's housekeeping, that we have a chance to speak our mind on each item, not on one time up here on all four of these. I think it's a form of transparency that the public has a right to speak out on every item that comes in front of the city council, no matter if it is a form of housekeeping. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on any of these four ordinances? Are there any public comments on these four ordinances? Do we have anyone online? We do not. This is the last call for public comment on any of these four ordinances. Public comments is now closed. Comments from the council. Councilman Coulter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a comment before I make a motion. So when I was on Gateway today, there's a really handy tool on there when you go to the taxpayer portal and you go down to these additional appropriations, and I guess some other parts of that website as well, where you can sign up for email notifications. Those notifications will come when the budget season starts, so you'll be alerted about workshops and meetings that we'll be having. And then it's also an alert each time that there's an additional appropriation that comes before the council. So it wouldn't just be limited to the newspaper. You could get those notifications to your inbox. And then second to that, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and hear all four of these ordinances on first, second, and third reading tonight.
May I entertain a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk on the vote, please.
Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
Mr. Dabney.
Aye.
Ms. Lee. Aye. Ms. Moldenauer.
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski.
Aye.
Ms. Tillman.
Aye.
And Mr. Beatrice.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and no one opposed.
And that has passed for us to have first, second, and third reading on all four of these ordinances. Madam Clerk, if you would please read all four ordinances as presented.
First one, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the general fund for the purchase of road salt for the street department. And this is introduced by Mr. Dabney, Dr. Cora, and Mr. Prespolinski. Number 2, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Riverboat Fund for the construction of the destination playground at Fetters Alley. And this is introduced by Mr. Prespolinski, Ms. Moldenauer, and Mr. Beatrice, and Ms. Lee. I'm sorry. And third one, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Riverboat Fund for the purchase of radios for the police department and fire department. And this is introduced by Ms. Lee and Dr. Cora. And the last one, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Riverboat Fund for the purchase of vehicles, including the buyout of leased vehicles for the Michigan City Police Department. And this is introduced by Ms. Lee and Dr. Cora.
And does any of the sponsors have any comments they would like to make? Councilwoman Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to make sure that the public is aware that these, all of these 4 ordinances were first introduced on March 3rd. So these have already been through 2 council meetings. There was already a public hearing for all 4 of these. This is coming back. This is giving the public actually extra time, and extra space to make comments if needed. So this is an extra bonus round for those of you who want to get this in.
Are there any other comments from any of the sponsors on any of these 4 ordinances? If there are none, I am opening this up for public comment. Are there any other public comments on any of these 4 ordinances? Please state your name and your address.
Well, Prisbalinski, 1716 Washington Street. I just want to remind the council members that not too long ago, 2 years ago, that we were in discussions with the fire department about getting a new truck and ordering that truck. I don't believe that truck's been ordered. So you gotta look at, it's April 7th. And I'm not trying to be nitpicking. I personally don't think that you need to allocate that $300,000 for salt. Because if we get snow now, it's going to be gone the next day. And what is it going to do? Sit in that barn and degrade over 6 or 8 months? You need to keep that money in the fund. You need to vote that down. But you combined it all, and now here we are, April 7th. And also, I want you to think about when you vote on that money and I'm not against a facility for handicap or anybody with disabilities, but I'll tell you that this community has been a subject to bad planning and not using their properties to the fullest extent. I want to ask you to ask yourself, when was the last time the park system spent any money to improve Zilla Park, which they could do? Any money to improve Ruby Woods? That was a Boy Scout project 8 years ago or 6 years ago. When was the last time that they improved any of the neighborhood parks or even bought any money for the neighborhood parks? This is bad planning. You guys need to revisit it. If you want to allocate the money, you need to use Washington Park to the fullest extent, but not to take more land away out of public use. And what I'm getting at is I did the research. There's never been a vote on taking Fetter's Alley away from a reserve status for the citizens of Michigan City. And I made a comment at a meeting a month ago, it might have been, and I was given a statement back to me that I was making some kind of problem with race relations in our city or community. And I want to tell you, that's a flimsy excuse, because we have always had all kinds of different nationalities in our community and have welcomed them with open arms. I take extreme
Mr. Prisbalinski, your time.
Yeah, I know. I'm at the end. But I take an exception to that remark.
Please, sir.
Yes, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street again. Another one I was going to say for general comment, watched the last park board meeting. I know we get about the destination playground, but the latest price tag, they got one bid for the demolition of the Millennium Plaza fountain. They quoted $184,000. I think we only appropriated $160,400. Where's that extra money going to come from? They only got one bid for it. I think they're going to put them all back up for bid. I don't know. We want to get that all taken care of before our events take place. So here we go again. That should have been built in the first place.
Are there any other public comments on any of these four ordinances? This is last call for public comments on these four ordinances. Public comments are now closed. Comments from the council? Councilman Beatrice.
Just one quick comment. The reason why we're buying $300,000 worth of salt in April is because we're getting a deal on it, because we're partnering with the state and getting that salt a lot cheaper than it would cost us if we waited until December.
Thank
To
you, Mr.
clarify a
Beatrice.
comment that was made earlier.
Councilman Dabney.
Yeah, and I wanted to say the same thing that Councilman Beatrice said in regards to basically getting salt early. And we have had snow in the month of April before recently. So, you know, it's there in case we need it. There was something that was worked out where we get a certain price if we bought it by a certain date to have. And salt does store over the summer. I used to work for NDOT, probably the purchaser of more salt than any other entity in the state of Indiana. And they used to fill the salt mills in that for, over the summer and have it ready for winter. So they could buy it cheaper, back early in the spring rather than wait until winter hit again. And I'm not even going to address the other part of this.
Thank you. At this time, may I entertain a motion
So moved.
on these four ordinances?
Second.
Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Mullenhour,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Ms. Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
and Mr. Coulter.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and no one opposed.
Thank you, and all four ordinances have passed. Next on our council agenda, we are down to new business. Madam Clerk, do we have any new business?
There is no new business.
Madam Clerk, would you please read our unfinished business?
Nominations. The council has one appointment to the Sustainability Commission, incumbent Lawrence Zimmerman. Term expires 3/11/26. Applicants received was Sean Hill, Violet Worth, and Lawrence Zimmerman. And we misspelled his name.
Zimmer, the R is off. So this is a vote. The council has one appointment to the, nope, this is a different, okay. So those are the applications that's been received. I'm looking at the other one that's below it, okay. And can we open this up for nominations? I would like to open this up for nominations for the 3 applicants, Sean Hill, Viola Worth, and Lawrence Zimmer. And if the council members could state who they would like to nominate, nominations are open. If you would do it by call, Madam Clerk.
No.
We just nominated, not voting, right?
We're just nominating.
Right.
Correct.
Anybody can make.
It's like them making their own motion. They can just nominate who they want.
Right, but so that they're just not blurted out, if Madam Clerk could call out your names, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Beatrice?
Well, Lawrence Zimmerman.
So. Okay.
Are there any other nominations?
I nominate Lawrence Zimmer.
Are there any other nominations?
That's confusing.
Councilwoman Lee?
Can I, Madam President?
Yes.
If I could clear that up. Every council member doesn't necessarily have to have a nomination,
Right.
right? So that's why you don't necessarily have to go one by one, and you just
Okay.
open it up to see who has a nomination. You may end up with only 2 nominations overall, and then we'll go one by one to see who they vote for based upon who's nominated.
And if we only have one nomination, can we take our vote this evening?
Yes, you can.
Thank you, Attorney Harris. Are there any other nominations? So the only nomination we have is for Lawrence Zimmer. And with that being stated, then I would like to open this up to vote. Due to that, we only have one nomination for Lawrence Zimmer. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Okay, hold on. That's for, okay. Mr. Beatrice,
Yes.
Mr. Coulter,
Yes.
Mr. Dabney,
Yes.
Miss Lee,
Yes.
Miss Mullenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Yes.
and Miss Tillman.
Yes.
We have 7 in favor and no one opposed.
And next we have the vote for the council has one appointment to the Michigan City. Oh, my apologies, out of order. Point of order on myself. Congratulations, Lawrence Zimmer. You are now appointed and have been nominated to fulfill the Sustainability Commission to sit on that board. Next, we have vote. The council has one appointment to the Michigan City Social Status of African American Males Commission representing the following and will expire February 15, 2026. We have Michigan City Area Schools, Dwayne Hurt, 2-year term. Correspondence was received from the Michigan City Area School Board advising Marty Corley was appointed to represent them on the Michigan City Social Status of African American Males Commission. Term will begin immediately and expire February 15th, 2028. We did not vote on this appointment at our last council meeting. I would like to make sure that we do this in a formal matter. So can we just go into a vote on this, Attorney Harris?
If you want to vote on that tonight, yes, you can.
Okay. So we will, by roll call, take the vote of accepting Marty Corley as the Michigan City Area Schools representative to the social status of African American males. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Miss Mullenhour,
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski,
Aye.
Miss Tillman,
Aye.
Mr. Beatrice,
Aye.
Mr. Coulter,
Aye.
Mr. Dabney,
Aye.
and Miss Lee.
Aye.
We have 7 in favor and no one opposed.
And congratulations to Mr. Marty Corley. You are now on the Michigan City Social Status of African American Males Commission Board. Next, we have comments from the public. Comments from the public are now open. If you would please come up and state your name and your address, and your time is 3 minutes. Thank you.
City Council, good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Dave Bila. I live at 3044 Ohio Street. I had an opportunity to meet with Mike Rosenbaum, the city auditor, and I'd like to bring some information to the City Council residents who represent the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th Ward of the City of Michigan City in regards to the lack of service that they are getting provided by the Michigan City Sanitary District. I just today got my tax bill, and all the residents of Michigan City get assessed money on their tax bill to clean out ditches. Well, last year, the Michigan City Sanitary District received $550,000 for ditch maintenance. They have done absolutely no ditch maintenance in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th Ward. This year, in their in their June draw, they're going to get $572,000 for ditch cleanout. Interesting thing, over the last 20 years, I hope you're listening, over the last 20 years, the Michigan City Sanitary District received, since 2021 or 22, over $40 million. And the ditches on the west side of Franklin Street have not been addressed. You would think after 20 years, the ditches would be cleaned out. I want to thank Councilman Przybylski. I got a bad wrist. I want to thank Councilman Przybylski. He arranged a meeting with the sanitary district because I've already I pursued this. It's an MS4. It's a problem that the residents of the 3 wards that I mentioned are paying for a service that they have not been receiving over the last 40 years. Kinsel Ditch Kinsel Ditch is a legally designated waterway that's, according to state law and MS4, has to be maintained. Nothing has been done. I realize certain people are not aware of this, but I've been on this project for the last 47 years when I bought my first piece of property here in Michigan City. We have a water problem west of Franklin Street that has not been addressed in regards to cleaning out ditches. Don't you think it's about time, after $40 million, some ditches could be cleaned out? Second Ward, Third Ward, and Fourth Ward people should realize that the people that they represent are getting shortchanged, and I can prove it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Tommy Kolovic, 1316 Ohio Street. Once again, continuing the Michigan City's fine tradition of champions. I want to congratulate Michigan City Marquette High School senior Lanaya Davis. She was named to the Indiana State All-State Girls Basketball Team. She's going to move on, have a great career at Northern Illinois University. She didn't get Miss Basketball. We just had a really great class of high school girls basketball players around the state this year. So thank God the Sky finally traded off Brooke Lane, Angel Reese. I want to mention. I think next time I'm going to talk about Senate Bill 260 that just went past. It's about public nuisance and liquor licenses about the state. So I want to talk about that. I want to tell you, the redevelopment commission, please take down the 8-foot fences you got next door surrounding your perimeter of your property, Councilwoman Tillman. You're on the redevelopment commission. I know that we just had Janet Block from the Besnick Art Center come before the board work. She wanted to know, they got a park people when they have their 3-day art fest. Got others, I know the firefighters, they local 475, they have events at Shoreline. The EMA, they park people there on fire and raise money, get equipment for themselves. Vector Control's got over more of that. You got a number of tree stumps over there that got to be removed. So get that done. Unfortunately, I see the Vita Del Lago on Franklin Street is going to be closed. You're going to have to formally revoke their alcohol riverfront liquor permit. Other than that, thank you for being the council members and putting up with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sal Dunlap, 729 East Michigan Boulevard. I want to hear Gail Nyla speak more at the city council meeting. You know you're my favorite. The last time I was here, one of our major contributors to these city council meetings spoke about the panhandling that is taking place in the city. I didn't bring the picture that I took of a gentleman that was out on 421 and 20. He had one arm, and he had on a pair of overalls, and he had the overalls off of his missing arm where the shoulder was, to demonstrate supposedly how much need he was in. Now, it's painful, real painful watching that, but this was a cold day, but still he felt as though that he had to demonstrate just how handicapped he was. And I want to be a part of letting folks know who are out begging. If you want some help, we can give you some help. If you want a job, we can create a job for you. Need some housing? We can find a place for you to stay. But don't think that this is just a place where you can come and just be a parasite. We all suffer. But that's just how I feel about it. I passed you out a picture of the same complaint that I'm bringing back to you again on 8th Street between Lafayette and York. I understand that the owner of that property took a chain and put around it and pulled that house down without a permit, and it's been sitting there. Now, we mentioned Hurt's name earlier. He just moved from his gorgeous piece of property right there where Lafayette terminates at 8th Street. And he moved to another location. So that house is for sale. Your property value is based on how well you maintain it and how limited the negative elements are around it to bring down the property value. That building is not a compliment to nobody. I have put no less than 5 of those signs up there. And I've been putting them up, securing them with plastic ties. Well, tonight before I came, I put up another one, but I secured it with
Mr. Dell,
metal.
I do apologize, but your
We up?
have.
Thank you.
Thank
They're
you.
gonna need more than a pair of scissors to take that one down. And I want something
Dunlap.
down about this, Mr. Coulter. I'm gonna run against you.
Yes.
Amy Lisinski, 104 Mayfield Drive. Couple quick things. I was just curious when Royal Road became a parking lot for Project Maze to keep parking their trucks. Because today when we were trying to travel home, going on Royal Road towards Tryon, there were 6 trucks, the length of semi-trucks, just parked. So it was our job to try to maneuver around these 6 trucks and only to get around them and have to swerve back over to then have to maneuver around more of them. I'm guessing there's some ordinances in place, or did Royal Road become now a parking lot for Project Mace? Anybody do anything about that? I don't know. My next thing's gonna be, and I believe that all of you guys have received a copy of a formal complaint that I filed with the city. I am highly disappointed at this point for the fact that I haven't heard anything back from anybody from the city. It's a formal complaint. I followed back up with the planning director to make sure that we did everything properly and just to verify that it got passed on to the BZA, which was the goal for where it to go. And nothing, crickets, no reply to emails. So how do I know that my formal complaint got to where it was supposed to go if this city can't reply back to emails? That's a problem.
Yeah.
And where's the transparency and why such a cover up? Because it seems like everything I come up here and talk about with these issues is everybody in this city administration, including a lot of you guys, as I brought up concerns and no one's asking or following through on these issues. It's all to protect Project Maze. They get to do whatever they want. Because FOIA update, because I've talked to you guys about that the last 6 weeks that I've come up here for your last 3 meetings. Another FOIA update. We submitted a FOIA to look at site plans. 2 of you I've emailed to this about. You saw the 3 excuses that we were given of why we couldn't inspect site plans. Although anybody should be allowed to come and inspect any site plans. I know that a city over was allowed to go and inspect site plans for the data centers that they were being built, and their city allowed them to. So why is our city denying us that right? And for the record, for the 3 reasons they gave me, one of them was to protect trade secrets. Well, guess what? They can redact those things and show me which ones I can view. You don't have to hide them all. Another reason was because of major city infrastructure or a major infrastructure. Talking about voting suppression and voting machines and the water supply and this and that. To me, that's talking about the city's major infrastructure, not a private business. And the third one talking about the risk that it could open up to a terrorist attack. What did you guys vote on to approve? Because those were the 3 sites to the 3 reasons of why I couldn't have used site plans. So again, that's my update on the FOIA request. I know that you guys don't handle some of these things, but who up here is going to go fight for the people of Michigan City and go ask City Hall upstairs what's going on? Why can't we have our access?
But thank you. Your time has lapsed. Thank you.
Ernie Hollahan, 302 Gladys Street. I'm right behind her on the data center. That is a total chaos out there. And I'm told they own from the center of the road on in. I don't understand how they can own a road. It doesn't make sense to me. But they put a second fence up right on the road. I can't understand how they're allowed to do that. They've been allowed to do a lot of things. They started this project long before they even applied for permits. They got them big bright lights out there. You turn off a Warren Key Road and one of them faces right in your face as you're driving down Royal Road. I was under the impression and told that, well, when they tore the coal chute down here, they had to get a special permit to work after 7 o'clock on that. How are they working around the clock out there? Have they got a special permit too? They seem to have everything else. I don't understand it.
Thank you, Ms. Ernie.
Hello, I'm Mike Corbin from 406 Jackson Street, lifelong resident. I have some questions about some of the things that happen here. Where is the property that the Soul Project is supposed to be built on? Whose name is that in? Does anyone here know? Because I'm trying to figure out why it's sitting on the LLC of Clarence Thomas's desk at the Economic Redevelopment Commission. You guys know you passed that property, both sets, into non-existent LLCs? Are you aware of this? I'm here to make you aware of it because the State Board of Accounting's involved now. And I want to know why we're passing property from a man who's the advisor to this council, why that property is being moved to his desk. And why to this day, on the original transfer of that property, those LLCs were never formed. Then they were conveyed via Scrivener's deed, right? They brought you in here and said, these deeds are in error, right? And then conveyed them to the new LLCs that are sitting on Clarence's desk. Which, how do you pass property in state of Indiana from entities that don't exist? You can't pass property to an entity that doesn't exist, then file a Scrivener's title and move it. Now, if your project ended in December, correct? The Soul Project died. It's gone. Why wasn't the property moved back into Michigan City Redevelopment Commission? Isn't there a state law that says exactly where that property must be and how it must be titled? Where's the property? Why was it voted on LLCs? And you, Gail here, she so conveniently marked it here as Exhibit A, where they're signing on this date when they sign these titles. When they sign this, these LLCs didn't exist. They weren't even formed. Oh, sorry. They weren't even formed. These LLCs weren't even formed at the time this was signed. Then we move forward in time, and then they then again vote on these and move the properties to the LLCs. And what we're getting economic development loans off these properties, actually where the properties actually sit, since all of the deeds failed, they actually sit.
Your time has
I'm sorry, at the redevelopment commission itself. So
Thank
they
you.
haven't actually.
Shelley Yankee, 904 Willow Spring Drive.
Could you please say that one more time? State your name and address.
Shelley Yankee, 904 Willow Spring Drive.
Yes.
I'm here today to give you guys yet again a gentle reminder that you're to represent the citizens of Michigan City. Here we are in April, and we still don't have the results of the soil test from the data center. We were told by a city council member in December that we could all breathe a breath of fresh air, that the soil was not contaminated. Today I spoke with IDEM requesting to know why they keep extending the deadline for the soil sample. I am once again here to ask you to please be concerned with the data center and show a little respect to the citizens that reach out to you, that call you. You don't respond. It's time to start being active with the citizens, or you're going to be in some serious trouble in 2027.
Thank you.
Dominic Yankee, 904 Willow Spring Drive. On March 22nd at 6:58 a.m., a security guard for Phoenix Construction, located at 402 Royal Road, the site of the data center, accidentally discharged his firearm while attempting to load his weapon. He was shot in his right calf, and according to 911 transcripts, he was going in and out of consciousness and a tourniquet was applied. Had this incident occurred during the week instead of on a Sunday, the victim could have been a student or a bus driver. Additionally, this easily could have been anyone driving by. This could have been me, my 73-year-old grandma, my 19-year-old brother, my parents, my neighbors, or anyone else who drives down that road. Through taxpayer agreements and historic tax abatements, the residents of Michigan City were reassured that our city council members had secured concessions and built lasting leverage through negotiations with Phoenix Construction. With the last workplace injury at 402 Royal Road, Councilman Cora asked the data center owner to commit to promptly notifying City Council and the public about future workplace incidents. That day, I believe we were promised transparency, yet we stand here with no update from Phoenix. I strongly urge the City Council to request that the data center stop arming their security personnel due to the community safety threat. Failing that, City Council needs to author a resolution urging Phoenix investors to mandate proper firearm training and safety certification for their security force. On a separate note, I'm excited for the Strebel Pond Volunteer Cleanup event on Saturday, April 11th from 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Didn't we already speak? I'm sorry, you already spoke? Did you not? No?
No, I did not. But thank you for reminding me,
No.
Madam Chair.
Busy
Paul,
meeting today.
when does my time start? When I say my name? Paul Przybylski, 1716 Washington Street. I want to thank all the concerned citizens of Michigan City, Indiana, that keep pressing on because of no transparency with this council or administration on anything we bring up.
Chris Belinsky,
All right.
that I will allow you to pick up from here. I will not allow any more outbursts. I will ask the officer to have you escorted out of the council chambers should it occur again. Mr. Przybylski.
I want to thank I want to ask the city council, did all of you sign a non-disclosure statement about the data center? Did you guys meet in private with these guys? You signed a non-disclosure statement? What's so secret about this? But anyway, you got $1 million and you didn't regulate it by ordinance that went to Clarence or gonna go to Clarence. The other thing that you didn't do for me is that you could have used redevelopment money to make that pump to pressurize the line in the annex property of 420 acres on the east side of town. You could have used TIF money, not a bond issue. Oh, and thank you for passing a wheel tax on me at the max amount. That's just the start. And 2027 is coming quick. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more public comments? This is last call for public comments. Do we have anyone online? We do not. Last call, public comments are now closed. Comments from the council. Councilman Prisbalinski.
Yeah, Madam President, thank you. First of all, I want to start out thanking the Street Department, Refuse Department, and Vector Control for their great work on the city cleanup that's going on right now. The other thing that I'd like to say is that myself and the mayor attended the IURC community meeting. I guess that's what you'd want to call it. That was over in LaPorte two weeks ago. And the IURC is the commission that gives permission for the amount of increases for your utility bills. And what I did is I took our resolution over there and I gave each one of the IURC members and gave it to the president, and he passed the resolution out to each one of the board members. So they all got a copy. They know exactly where Michigan City's coming from. And I read that resolution to the whole IURC board. So that was very good. I also want to give a shout out to a gentleman and the people that stood their ground on the respite center that was going to be built on the corner of Ann and Ripley Street. Well, Ton of Blank, St. Anthony's, listened to the neighbors, and they abandoned that site there, and now they're going to build it somewhere south over here by the old YMCA off Cool Spring Ave. Don't know exactly where it's going to be, but it's going from there. But it was from the power of the people putting petitions together, attending meetings, voicing their opinion, and coming to council meetings that got that done. So the power of the people and the voice of the people does work. And I do want to thank Tom Nazimek. That's the gentleman sitting right here in the blue sweater who got the petition drive together to get that taken care of. And then this evening, as I brought the resolution up for discussion, and I appreciate the council members that voted for it. And I also hear the concern about the annexation. Michigan City should start moving forward and we should get this done. Madam President, I don't know exactly who's on the liaison to the Planning Commission or the Planning Department, but I think they should talk to the Director of Planning and set up a workshop and let them get the council going and let them know our viewpoints instead of this coming up again when another hookup wants to come up 6 months from now, and we're going to be talking about the same thing. Put the workshop together and let's start talking. And then the last thing that I want to do is I want to direct our council attorney to contact IDEM. However, whether it's a letter, whether it's a car ride to Indianapolis, what do you got to do to get this end results for the soil, for this data center, so we all know what's going on with the soil testing. Okay, I think we've heard it, and I appreciate you folks coming and keep coming and bringing the issues up. But we got to get some answers to what these folks want to know. And I don't care what the developer says or what the end user says. It's what the people want to know that live in that neighborhood. And what Councilman Don Prisbalinski, Councilman at large, representing the whole city, wants to know what's going on with that development for these people. Thank you.
Councilwoman Moldenauer.
Thank you, Madam President. As many of you know, the NIPSCO workers are local sisters and brothers that work in this community and keep our electricity on and repair our lines when they're down. They were actually locked out of their workplace on Friday. That included the linemen and also the clerical workers. So want to just let you know that I stand solidly behind United Steelworkers 12775 as they're facing really an uphill battle, because I know that beyond not speaking with their union president, they're not in good faith looking at benefits that they've had for many years, and they're trying to take things away from them. Also, I want to mention, our controller had mentioned we're over budget for things like diesel, fuel, and gasoline. And I just would like to point out that the Sustainability Commission has been working with the departments on replacing vehicles with electric ones. And also, Councilman Prisbalinski has been working on adopting compressed natural gas. The more of our vehicles we can transition from these older forms of fossil fuel, it's going to amount to lots of saved dollars for our city, because we won't be putting out these huge amounts for the old fuel sources anymore. So thank you.
Councilwoman Lee.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a few things. Two of them are for the gentleman that just stepped out. But I think there's a lot of confusion about the NDAs, the non-disclosure agreements. Those had to be signed before we even had access to what the meeting was even about. So no information was given to us, and then we're like, okay, let's sign this. We had to sign before to even have access to any of the information to get into the meeting. If we didn't have access to that information, we wouldn't be able to have access to any of the information at all. So there's confusion about that. Then the SOLA project, I think that, oh, yeah, okay. So a couple months ago, there was a whole petition about that exact situation. So if you all want to go back to the previous council meetings, all that has been addressed and resolved, and our attorneys looked into all that information. Does anybody remember what month that was in?
No, but in
November, maybe?
Yeah.
So all those questions have been addressed to the public in the council meetings. So then, Councilman Prisbalinski mentioned this, but I will also look into the results for the soil report, and I will reach out about the trucks parked on Royal Road. And then, as Dominic mentioned, there is a spring spruce up. I'm hosting a cleanup at Strebel Pond on Saturday, April 11th from 8:30 in the morning till 11:30. We're going to be cleaning up trash, removing invasive plants, painting the gazebos, power washing, kind of get that all set up and going. And then in the future, we will sit down with the people involved and come up with a sustainable plan to keep Strebel Pond up and running and maintained properly.
Thank you. Are there any more additional comments from council? I just have a couple of things. The Michigan City Special Events is looking for arts, craft, and merchandise vendors for the events as follows. For May 23rd through 24, the Michigan City Food and Music Fest, June 19th for Juneteenth Day, July 17th through the 19th, Singing Sands Festival, and for September 4th through the 7th for the Oktoberfest. For more information, please contact Eric Williams at ewilliams@emichigancity.com. And again, there was a lot of emphasis about 2027. You're absolutely right. Early voting locations. Tuesday began today, April 7th, LaPorte County Complex, 809 State Street, Meeting Room 2, LaPorte, Indiana, 46350, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. 8th and Wabash Street, 302 West 8th Street, Michigan City, Indiana, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mobile voting units, Maple City Square Apartments, 1204 Andrew Ave, LaPorte, Indiana, 46350, 9 a.m. until 12 p.m. And mobile voting unit, Carriage Court House Apartment, 1700 Andrew Ave. So again, early voting locations are open, so please go out and cast your votes. And may I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you and have a good evening.